Hi guys. So today we'll be seeing about workflow sequence chart for mechanical works in oil and gas plant. So why we are doing this workflow sequence chart? So before building the schedule, you need to know what are all the activities involved in the project and what sequence it will be performed. So by knowing these things, you can develop a good quality schedule. So then this also helps you to identify what are all the interlinks you have between the various activities. So for example, here we have piping work. So we need to install a 20-inch pipeline piping in a it is basically a interconnection between the old plant and the new plant. So the new plant is already constructed, and piping has been laid up to particular boundary. Then we have the old plant. So now so why we had this purpose of the project is like if the old plant gets shut down, so some process units are not functioning, then we can uh, get the piping materials from the new glass plant to the old glass plant, and we can run the old gas plant. So it is like if there is a shutdown in um, new gas plants, and then you can operate the old gas plant. So some equipments it can perform well in your new gas plant. So due to that, we are doing this kind of project like so then here you see like we need to install a steel structure in the old plant. Then we need to lay piping above that steel structure. Then we need to interconnect, we need to do the tie-in between the old plant flange and the new plant. Also we have a 20-inch, there is a T connection, so which has a blind flange. So we need to remove the blind flange, and we need to connect this 20-inch new piping system. Here we will see like what are all the sequence we have. So here we start with the scaffolding erection. So this is like this explains only the construction activities. Before that, we may need to do many documents like visiting the site, and how is the location, what are all the safety hazards are there, safety risk is there, everything you may need to consider. Then you will have some kind of duration for the particular activities that is not explained here. So I will start directly with the construction activities. So we start with the scaffolding erection. So the scaffolding erection also, there are different types. We have like hanging scaffold. If the space is very limited, so then you may need to go with hanging scaffold, or if the elevation is very high, then you will be going ahead with the scaffolding of the hanging scaffold, or else there is like a coplock type. So that is a different type of scaffold. It's like we call like a ledger and system scaffold we have. So this is like, so you need to start the scaffolding erection. Then you need to start the pipe support erection. So the pipe support erection means like there are some we call it as like a clamp shoes for this pipe to place over the shoes. So you may need to have those kind of supports. Then there could be some structural U type supports, L type supports. So as it is a 20-inch line, so we are having mostly like a clamp shoe supports. So then we may need to start with the pipe support erection. And there could be some structural members you need to build, like a cantilever type of the support also we had in the project. So where there are two beams, so we make a cantilever beam arrangement. So then we start with the pipe spool erection and fit up. So here comes the actual piping erection. So we may need the cranes, mobile cranes like 50 or 110 crane, based on your location where you can park your crane, and how much radius we have between the crane location and the actual piping installation location. So these things, so you will start with the pipe spool erection. So what is pipe spool? Pipe spool is like so we do some kind of fabrication before starting this installation in the field. So where there are some pipes which may be welded with elbows, or pipes with the well neck flanges, or pipe with some T connections, whatever, like some you may have reducing T, or you may have unequal, like there are different types. So then you start the pipe spool erection. Then once your spool is erected by using chain pulleys and chain blocks and everything, so then this everything you continue with the pipe spool erection. Then you may also need to do the fit up. So fit up is like we call it as like a tack weld. So with some in the circumference we need to make some tag welds, so that the pipe doesn't get moved when you start the full welding. So you may need to check the alignment of the both pipe spools, like the level and uh, so everything you need to check, like. So then you start with the pipe spool welding. So then for the pipe spool welding as well, you may need, if it is the pipe thickness is more, then you may need some two welders there. So in this project, so it was like more than 20 to 30 so we may need to have two welders. So even for the fit up we also need the welders as well. So then you go ahead with the pipe spool welding. So for the pipe spool welding you may need uh, generators and welding machines for the power supply. So as it is a process plant, so you may also need to have some kind of a power source. For that you may need some generators, and a welding machine is also required, so in order to perform the welding. So here most of the oil and gas they use the TIG welding, and there is also like for the root means like both pipes, like after doing the beveling, and so you may need to start the first welding, so that we call it as a root welding. So they normally do it with TIG welding. So then you start with once the welding is completed, there are different stages based on your thickness. So you cannot fill the metal for a whole pipe, so you may need to do it in stages. So then for this everything it will take some kind of time. So you need to understand, like you may need to discuss with your supervisors, like how much we can achieve the welding per group. So assuming like two welders and two helpers, so how much so we are the piping, we call it as like inch dia. So inch dia is nothing. So what is your pipe size or the diameter? So if it is a 12-inch pipe, we call like 12-inch dia. Then you proceed with the, so as the pipe thickness is more, so we may also need to go with the post welder heat treatment. So it is like a heat treatment process, so where they will use some kind of fire blankets, so that will be placed over the both the pipes. And for heating arrangements there also you have some kind of heating devices. So then you start with the post well heat treatment. Then, so in order to test the so for that also it takes some kind of duration. So this, for doing this you cannot do on one by one joint, or so you need to have some kind of 5 to 6 joints, so that the PW HT team also get a sufficient work front. So then you start with the post well heat treatment. Then you proceed with the NDE. So what is NDE? So it is like a non-destructive engineering. So here we test the quality of the weld by using NDT, like non-destructive testing also we call. So where some kind of radiography we call, so the X-ray, it is passed through the X-ray, and I will check the quality of the weld. So that is, so for that also you may need some kind of duration. For getting the films also it may take some duration. If you do the radiography in the night, so you will get the result by next day. So then you may need to check that film, and check like whether the metal is poured uniformly, or you have some kind of porosity or defects, everything. So for this also you need some kind of a duration. So this part everything you need to include in your schedule, like you may need to have the post heat treatment, then you need to have this NDE. So everything you finish all this NDE part. So parallelly for the piping system, basically we also do a hydro test. So that is also one of the important process in the oil and gas project. So then, so once you do that, then it goes for like you have the inspection test reports, like weld visual inspection reports, fit up reports, and your NDE reports. You also do hardness test as well. Then sometime liquid penetrant test for the support works. So then everything, so this we may call like NDE. So how long does it take? Then you go ahead with the hydro test package submission. So what is hydro test package submission? It is basically like we need to test the piping system by passing the water over the piping, and we will pressure it like 1.5 times of the design pressure. So that is what is the hydrotest pressure. So water will be filled inside the piping, then it will be pressurized by using the hydrotest pump. Then we do the hydrotest. So for that we may also need to do the hydrotest package preparation. So in the package preparation, basically like so there would be many connections. Sometimes for instrument connection also you may have some kind of flanges. So everything you need to close by the blind flange. Then the end connection also you may need to close it by the blind flange. Suppose if it is a tie-in spool, then also you may need to install some temporary well neck flanges in order to do the hydro test. So this everything you need to consider in your schedule. So this is a small project and it is a revamp, and so we will be working on a live plant, so that we may need to make a very detailed schedule. So then we go ahead with the once the test package is prepared. So you also test how many repair you have the on the welding joints. So there will be some penalties. Many things are there. Like if suppose there is a repair in one weld joint, so there will be a penalty for the particular welder. You may need to do take the additional two joints, or sometimes it is like 100% radiography the based on the line class and the pressure everything. So then you go ahead with the line walk down and a punch clearance. So what is line walk down is like you will be doing the walk down on the piping system and check whether the level elevations and everything is as per the isometric drawings. So we may need to check the is there any level in the flange, how it is welded, there is any tilting flange tilt is there, or whether the line is straight. So everything you need to check. So then you go ahead with the line walk down. Then sometimes so this line walk down will be done jointly with your PMC guy, or with sometimes here this we are doing a project for live plan, so that maybe the concerned engineer will come down for the walk down and they will list the punch. So like safety point of view also they check. So those things also they will put us like a punch. So weld is not like structural support, the welding is not done properly. So then you may need to do that kind of welding. And sometimes we call like a B punch. So B punch is like after hydro test you can do that. So it is basically kind of paint touch ups on your weld joints or some other uh, punches which are not essential for hydro test. So then we go for the line walk down. So that takes like 1 or 2 days, 2 to 3 days if the punch is large. So that everything also you need to consider in the schedule. Then you go ahead with the water filling. So water filling and hydro test, as I told you earlier, like so you may need to use the water also specifically. Like you may need to have some kind of demineralized water for some SS lining or something. So that also you may need to test the water before performing the test. So then you fill the water, and you ensure that the line is fully full, and you may also need to do some kind of venting systems if there is some kind of inside the piping system. Then so once the water filling is done, so then it will be pressurized. So on so that also we have some kind of inspection, like whether all flanges, or they will be raising the pressure slowly, so that if there is any leak or something, so we can check during that time. So before that I forgot to, so like for the flange bolting also we have bolt torquing inspection report. So what is the torque value, everything they check inside the piping flange, if there is any gaskets or properly we have used the correct class. Like sometimes they also do the face inspection, also the flange face inspections. So this everything is there, like so you cannot start the bolting immediately. So for that also they have inspection, like whether the face is uniform or any damage is there. So that also they check. So there are a lot of technical side. So everything we may not put in the schedule, but you may need to consider those some kind of durations in your schedule. So then once you do the water filling and hydro test, so there will be pressure gauge set up in your manifold. Manifold is basically some kind of water from the tank. So it will be go through this manifold, and it will be routed to your piping system. Okay, so the pressure gauge will be fitted in one in the lower position and another in the higher position, like so. Then once the pressure is witnessed, so they perform this hydro test for a particular duration. So if there is any pressure drop, so then you may need to again drain the you may need to reduce the pressure and drain the water, and you need to check where the leak is there. Then so Normally if there is 100% radiography is done, so the failure will be very less. So then you do the water filling and hydro test. So then you go for the flushing and the blowing. So what is the flushing? So flushing is like it is like kind of cleaning. So you have already tested and the water will be drained. Then again you fill the pipe system with the water, and with some particular pressure you uh, clean the piping system. So that is a flushing kind of system. So that then you store go ahead with the air blowing. So air blowing is kind of drying your piping system. So where the compressor, you'll be using the compressor. So from the compressor, so where there is a separate bar you need to maintain for doing this air blowing as well. So you pass the air inside the piping system. Then at the end side, so you may also have some kind of the flanges may be closed, and sometimes it will be you will build the pressure and you will release it off. So then it keeps on we will be doing that blowing. So for that also it will take some kind of duration. Then we go ahead with the b punch clearance and reinstatement. So whatever in the line walk down, they have given some b punches like this, majoritically like it will be like a paint touch up, or there could be some you are connecting with the tie-in main flange. So that will come as a reinstatement. And whatever some instrument connections like pressure gauge or transmitters, anything, so that will be installing after your hydro test. So that also will come as a b punch clearance and reinstatement. So parallelly, the flushing, blowing, and deep. So we also do head with the paint touch up of the weld joints. So like the welding joints, we'll need to do the some paint touch up. So that is also one of the activity. Then once you do that, so this line we also need to do some kind of heating. So there is like some SS tubes has to be placed over this piping system, so that we call as a steam tracing installation. So that is like some kind of SS tubes. So there also we will be having the manifold for this steam and condensate manifolds. So this steam will be passed over this pipe system. So for that also we have the work here. So that also will consider how long this. Then we have the insulation. So insulation is mainly for the steam system. Like sometimes this SS tubes, it will be like a pre-insulated tubes are there. So then you may need not only in the joint portion where connection portion, or inside your piping system you may need to do some kind of hot insulation there. There are various types like mineral wool, then calcium silicate type of insulation. So as per the productivity, how much length it could be done, so you need to consider those duration. So similar to that, we have the pipings, steam and condensate. So this is like basically we have some kind of taking a tapping connection from the existing steam circuit. So the valve is already there, isolated. So maybe we may have the flanged connection from there. So this also follow the same process here. So it is also almost same. So then here also we have this whatever activities we seen in the 20-inch piping erection.